Hey everyone, Xander here. About every 4 years, give or take, a Paper Mario game comes along and stirs up some feelings. The original Paper Mario was released in August of 2000 on the Nintendo 64. 4 years later, the wildly successful sequel, Paper Mario: The Thousand Year Door, stole the hearts of many on the Nintendo GameCube in 2004. 3 years after that, Super Paper Mario flipped onto the Wii, followed by Sticker Star in 2012, and lastly, Color Splash rounded out the series on Wii U back in 2016. With 2020 here at last, it sure feels like a good time for another Paper Mario, and I, for one, am ready to see another slew of speculation videos highlighted by calls for a return to its RPG roots. That's not to say I haven't enjoyed the latter Paper Mario titles. Color Splash was a whole lot of fun, and say what you will about Sticker Star, it's a flawed title, but it's still a decent game for what it is. And, of course, Super seems to be just mixed for most people. That game has fans, you know who you are. However, the Switch has seen several titles that showcase a series going back to its roots, such as the exploration in Breath of the Wild, the 3D sandbox of Super Mario Odyssey, or the free-roaming movement in Super Mario Party, and even to a degree, elements in Luigi's Mansion 3. With the Nintendo fanbase coming home after the failure of the Wii U, I think it's time for Paper Mario to go back to its roots and continue to service the fans with a similar return to form. Or at the very least, try something else, because I think the time spent with the Sticker Star approach of an adventure game has passed. And I think it's also worth mentioning that while Intelligent Systems and Koei Tecmo did put out Fire Emblem Three Houses last summer, with DLC coming out very soon, the Paper Mario development team is separate from the Fire Emblem folks. I know a lot of people are very sensitive with this series. It's a nostalgia thing for many, and some are really cool with these newer games, whereas a lot of folks who really enjoyed the RPGs just aren't thrilled with where the series has gone. I know I have found enjoyment out of all of them. Unfortunately, Paper Mario seems to now have three distinct versions. There are the RPGs, the platformer, and now the adventure games. So, no matter what the next game is, someone will probably not be happy because it's not a continuation of the game that they played. The discourse with this series since Super Paper Mario has gotten to be really intense at times. But that's pop culture in general for you. So, what exactly would a new Paper Mario on Switch look like? Well, after the release of Color Splash, Intelligent Systems lead producer Risa Tabata emphasized in an interview with GameXplain that hardware was essential in designing the game's direction. This is shown in using the Wii U gamepad for flicking cards and cutting out objects in the world. So, assuming Nintendo stays true to the series' roots, the question becomes, what parts of the Switch hardware could a new Paper Mario title utilize, and be based around? Off the top of my head, we got HD Rumble for, simulating the feeling of shaking glitter out of a container. There's of course the IR camera, which already uses Rochambeau in the new Brain Age game, and that was something that was used a lot in Color Splash. The Joy-Cons have gyro in them, so the option of tilting the system or the controllers for some motion control puzzles or balancing something in the game is there. If the next game utilizes action commands in turn-based combat, it could be fun to use motion controls, so long as that buttons are also an option for those who want them, or for at least accessibility. A big thing to consider is that, of course, the Switch Lite doesn't have a lot of these pieces of hardware. That doesn't mean I think that this will prevent a complete omission of using the Switch's features. I believe Super Mario Odyssey has the screen shake when a moon is nearby that was meant to be unearthed using HD Rumble, but that's not going to solve every issue. I think the biggest thing I'm thinking about is that the Switch does love its two-player options with the split Joy-Cons. What could a second player do? Well, if it is an RPG, maybe the second player could assist in puzzles, or take control of the partner character in the world. This would mean the game leans more towards switching between characters, which is something Luigi's Mansion 3 is using with the slimy friend Luigi, and we also saw this in Pikmin 3, and a little bit in Pikmin 2 actually, with the different captains. If they do want to return to form and bring back partner characters, I think that having the option of splitting Mario and his partner up would be kinda neat. A lot of the puzzles in the first 2 games are fairly obvious in that they require you to just use the one ability to press onwards. They can keep that, but if the partner character can go off to do something that aids in a puzzle, that could freshen up the experience. Remember how Koops could hold his shell in place while Mario moves around? An evolved form of that would be neat. And again, if they didn't want to do that, then maybe a second player could be an assist of sorts. They wouldn't be a huge component of the game, but something small to boost player 1. Say, they also have to press the action commands at the same time as player 1. And if they're in sync, then Mario does a little bit more damage to an enemy, or lessens damage received. And honestly, I would love it if Nintendo went off the wall and tied in Labo in some fashion. I know it's dead at this point, but so are Amiibo, and we still seem to be pre-ordering those on a regular basis. What could Paper Mario use it for? It would be interesting to see a kit included that is used in conjunction with the time-based action commands in the combat. Pull or push buttons, or even strings with correct timing, or maybe spin a wheel to line up something on the screen. Or use the motion controls of the Joy-Cons to simulate cutting paper. Maybe it's like a stage play again, and the cardboard is similar to a clapper board that opens and shuts for special moves. Heck, maybe all the special moves are tiny Toy-Cons that make them a little more tangible to use, but aren't required. What I'm saying is, if they use Labo, it can't rely on Labo, mostly to avoid barriers of entry, and also because not everyone's going to be into toys. It needs to use Labo in conjunction with whatever feature the game is built around. If the game has a feature where you can take pictures, then yeah, throw in that camera Toy-Con. Can Mario turn into a little boat or a car or a bike? Labo control options would be a lot of fun. Can you paint or draw something like a custom partner character? Well, you can use a control stick. You could use your finger in handheld mode. Or you could use that Labo VR elephant mask. Labo has a lot of opportunity, and could certainly be boosted if it were crossed over with Paper Mario. But again, that's a stretch. Yoshi's Crafted World didn't do anything with it, and that game loves cardboard. We won't really even know what else they could do, since we don't know what kind of game Paper Mario on the Switch will be. What makes this situation even more intriguing is the unfortunate demise of Alpha Dream, the studio behind the beloved Mario and Luigi games. And as sad as that is, it could have an effect on changing the internal discussion around Paper Mario. Maybe Nintendo saw the writing on the wall with Alpha Dream when planning the Switch Paper Mario title, and that factored into the game's development. If I recall correctly, I think Alpha Dream had been hiring for a 3D Mario RPG that would presumably be on the Switch, but that seems to have been scrapped. Mario and Luigi appear to be in a state of flux, and since Nintendo didn't own Alpha Dream, do they get the rights to all those unique characters like Fawful, Popple, Cackaletta, the Shroobs, Starlo, etc.? I'm gonna say yes because I think they still own those games with or without Alpha Dream, so it's probably not like the situation with Geno and Mallow in Super Mario RPG. But now we have to ask, will Mario and Luigi be given to a new studio and or dismiss these characters from the previous titles? Or will it be shelved and thus Paper Mario takes up the RPG mantle again? Nintendo has said that it didn't make sense for there to be two competing Mario RPGs. We don't know, but with Mario and Luigi currently out of the picture, the assumption is that there could be an increase in possibility of Paper Mario getting a path back to its RPG origins. But you know what they say about assuming. Gameplay aside, I think one of the biggest interests in the next installment is for the characters, story, and world building to get beefy again. I love Toad, he's a cool guy, but he doesn't need to be every NPC in the game. I think Sticker Star and Color Splash were called action-adventure genre games, so even if you take away RPG from the genre list, I still don't think that an adventure where every character is the same is very interesting. It's safe to assume, like in every one of these games, we're probably going to be running around collecting 7 of something, stars, stickers, sponges, I don't know. But a consistent theme in all of these entries has been that worlds are split up under vignettes of a spoof. Sherlock Holmes, Star Wars, Pikmin, parallel worlds, internet culture, all of this has been used as framework for telling funny stories. And I really like this approach because it keeps things interesting and memorable. Mario has plenty of tropical themed levels across his plethora of games. So why does Keelhaul Key stand out? Well, there's a snobby, stuck-up merchant who you have to listen to, and the island is haunted by the ghost of a pirate king, Cortez. And you know that one of the antagonists of the game is disguised as one of your crewmates. There's a story. It's not groundbreaking, but it's interesting, and it's funny. If you remove all of these characters from Keelhaul Key, you get a jungle level where you go find the star at the end. Sound familiar to anyone? But it's cool because all the paper stuff that is used. Yeah, I like how paper is used creatively too, believe me, but I think it was called Paper Mario because the paper is referencing the paper of a book. It was originally called Mario's Story in Japan, and I know Paper Mario fans know that already. If the idea of a brand new RPG-based Mario game seems too much like a pipe dream, a final option would be a remake of the original, or The Thousand Year Door. And you know, it's not first on my list, but I would be really interested in an upgraded revisit to Super Paper Mario. Remakes have shown up several times on the Switch already, examples being Pokemon Let's Go, Link's Awakening, or even the upcoming remaster of Xenoblade Chronicles. At the end of last July, the very long #remaster Thousand Year Door was even trending on Twitter following 2 coincidental events. The first being tweets from former NOA localization team member who wrote for Color Splash, Eric Smith, announced his departure from the company, and he thanked everyone for the time he spent there. The other being fellow YouTuber Arlo, shouting to the heavens to have the game remastered. Needless to say, the interest is high to see this series on Switch in some capacity, and if a remake does happen, at least we would get to see Nintendo say Paper Mario is an RPG again. I was getting scared a while back that we were going to see one of these games put on the 3DS with the Sticker Star engine, similar to how Luigi's Mansion followed Dark Moon, but I think we're in the clear at this point. Hopefully. So what do you think? Is a return to a more focused RPG experience just what's needed to re-energize the Paper Mario series? Do you have a cool, hot take on a fresh idea? Did anything I thought of strike your fancy? Let us know in the comments below and tell us what you'd like to see in a new Switch title. And thank you so much for watching. Take care.
This video was made possible by our generous supporters on Patreon. Did you know that Nintendo World Report is funded directly by fans like you? When you support Nintendo World Report on Patreon, you get immediate access to multiple exclusive podcasts every month, exclusive Discord channels, an early look at select content, and more, all for as little as $1 a month. Check out patreon.com/NWR for all the details.